about people wandering in here, you don't know who they are, and they start videoing, and so that's what I drafted. It requires someone to register. It doesn't say you can't do it. It just says if you're going to be in here with video, we want to know who you are. We want an address, identification, and everything.
Let me stop it right there for a second. So these are the type of people that freak the hell out when you don't ID. Here you can see they're starting to get to the point to where failure to ID becomes a major issue, one so that they impose penalties, criminalize it. Who the hell do these people think they are? You know, that actually reminds me of something really familiar, something that happened just a few days ago. Can I get your name?
No, sir.
No? So you're a city employee. Can you say hypocrisy? See, here's the difference between us. If you're a public employee and you don't ID yourself and you come and engage me and refuse to identify, I'm going to give you a name that maybe you don't like. This was your opportunity to provide your name for making contact with me. That's where I assign her the name of Karen. Speaking of hypocrisy, those that watched the video know exactly what happened just before that.
It's also unconstitutional for you to have your mask on.
Can you give me a mask as well so I can cover my face up?
Great one, Karen. To basically come in as a lawmaker, to say that somebody's Fourth Amendment right and Fifth Amendment right does not apply when they're inside of a city building. Great one, Karen. To basically come in as a lawmaker, to say that somebody's Fourth Amendment right and Fifth Amendment right does not apply when they're inside of a city building, when they're inside City Hall. Because what they're saying in that is that if you are, and what you'll see in this meeting, is that if you're recording video, you've got to register. With that comes, you've got to identify, or you've got to provide all information, your name, address, all that. The Fourth Amendment protects against an unreasonable search and seizure. Unless there's a crime being committed, and with that comes, there must be reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed, that a crime is being committed, or that a crime will be committed. Suspicion alone does not rise to the level of criminal conduct. The fact that this City Hall is making it this big of a deal to identify fully means that they're saying your Fourth Amendment right is not important and your Fifth Amendment right is not important to remain silent if someone so chooses to do so.
You need to know who's in your building, especially if they're video.
All right, let's say, following up on that, it doesn't say you cannot do it.
That's right.
Does that mean that you can do it?
Yes, sir, because I didn't do a lot of research. It didn't take long before I ran into stuff that
Okay, I'm gonna pause that right there. I didn't do a lot of research. Please tell me that you're a more experienced attorney than that to impose such a controversial ordinance that impedes on freedom of the press, with the right to petition our government for a redress of grievances without fear of reprimand or reprisal. This is about to go terribly wrong.
Access only to public areas.
That's absolute, and we need to flesh that out. It doesn't say that. This is just a bare bones.
Right.
then if you're in executive session, for example, they can't walk in this here, even though it's a public meeting, in a public building, and start filming if you're in the executive session, they come behind the cameras and everything.
So I want to explain the importance of public. What is an expectation and what is not an expectation. It's very simple. When you're out in public, there is no expectation of privacy. You notice at buildings, walking down the street, you'll see cameras here and there that are always recording. There is no expectation of privacy when you're out in public. Privacy is something that you have to create. You create privacy by closing a door, okay? That right there, if something needs to be private, the proper way to create privacy is to go into a room and close the door. You cannot trespass the eyes, okay? So long as it's in a publicly accessible space, anything the eyes can see, you can film. Make that completely, abundantly clear right there.
To fill out would have that it has to be in a public area.
Well, okay, I did a form, I'll go back and add that to it, yeah. But I don't know, I know what you're saying, but the whole building is public, but you don't have access to all the public places. This is a public building. You can't go around where the work's being done, where confidential and privileged information is relying on people.
Wrong. Wrong once again, okay? This is where if you're a public employee and somebody is in your lobby and they are recording as they have a constitutional right to do, okay? It's very simple. Don't leave confidential information out that can be captured on camera, okay? Second of all, I'm not really sure what City Hall, okay, what an employee at City Hall, you know, what kind of confidential information they would have. Just about everything is publicly accessible at City Hall, to my knowledge. Granted, there may be, I really don't know too many instances where there would be something that's truly confidential that would be out on an employee's desk. That should be something that they're advised not to leave out for somebody to see.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it should be in this ordinance or that should be on the form.
I can put it in both places.
It's what the board would allow or suggest. All right? Then it may be good to put it in both places. Then the other thing that I know of is setting a fine for someone as a misdemeanor that does not properly identify themselves. Anybody have a suggestion for that?
Hey, Mayor, I got a suggestion. It's called Learn the Constitutional Rights of Your Citizens. Learn that the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment both apply here. Learn how not to violate the rights of your constituents.
Okay. 500. All right, we're going to put that down.
Unbelievable. Okay? Failure to ID results in a misdemeanor and a $500 fine set by a table of people with the average age of probably 70. It said if you don't ID yourself, that you're subject to a $500 fine and a misdemeanor. Have these people lost their damn minds? What is wrong with the attorney, Coleman Mitchell, right up there in the left top corner, for not knowing this and correcting it? The city is leading itself down a dark road to a very, very expensive day for them. Very expensive. I can't wait to see if that happens tomorrow. First of all, their code right there, it doesn't even give a amount of jail time. The way it reads, it's a monetary citation. It's a misdemeanor with a $500 fine attached. No jail time. I will gladly take a misdemeanor citation for refusing to fully ID myself, because that's a absolute joke. That is an absolute joke. For one, they're trying to demonize and criminalize the use of a video camera to provide accountability and transparency into the local government. The taxpayers are the ones that ultimately pay these people's salaries. And the way to provide oversight is limited by, you have to fill out a form and request permission, which leaves it to the decisions of the people you see sitting at this table that made the rules up as they go, that decided to make this a misdemeanor, that decided to attach a $500 fine for failing to ID. Law enforcement should know, clearly know, that unless a crime has been committed and breaking a city code does not rise to the level of committing a crime where law enforcement has the ability, the probable cause to, or the reasonable articulable suspicion to make somebody ID. This is going to be a very, very interesting policy to constitutionally challenge. And I'm going to be there tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Mayor Farrell has said that he's going to be there and is looking forward to having a conversation. Kind of seemed like he changed his tone whenever I called to confirm that I'd be there on Wednesday. So that he has indeed, of course, been thinking about this ordinance even more. However, with the Board of Aldermen meeting today, I went back and I kind of scanned through it. There was no mention of any of this, of the ordinance being challenged. Now, they had executive session, which is off camera, and it's a meeting between just the mayor and Board of Aldermen and the attorney. I'm sure it probably came up in executive session. But tomorrow I'll be going into Batesville City Hall to request public records to get the names and the salaries of all city employees, as well as the annual budget for the city of Batesville, Mississippi. That information is important to me if they are to violate my rights tomorrow in any way. Let's finish this up.
So, got a motion by Stan to adopt this ordinance, which will include that no, it has to be in not a restricted area or a public access area. All right, that it would include $500 fine. Bill made a second. All in favor? All right. Motion carries, no opposition.
No opposition.
All right, so then you don't have the form they fill out, the bill. So have that available.
I'll give that to Shauna when I give it a revised ordinance. Now, my question before we move forward is, if somebody comes in this building and is videoing out of order, what's the process?
Who is that?
Well, my law
find his name.
walking around doing this and that, what do we do? Well, if you ask them to stop and register, And hopefully that'll be the end of that. Hopefully they'll say, sure, I'll be glad to. If that's not the case, you don't want any kind of, confrontation. I would just call the police and ask them to come over, call up the code officer.
Call the police so they can potentially violate the rights of
Well, you're saying that if they
the individual and put the city
do
in
what we ask them to,
tremendous
then
liability.
So, got a motion by Stan to adopt this ordinance, which will include that no, has to be in not a restricted area or a public access area. All right, that it would include $500 fine. And Bill made a second. All in favor? All right. Motion carries, no opposition.
No opposition.
All right, so then you don't have the form to fill out the bill. So have that available.
I'll get that to Shauna when I give it a revised ordinance. Now, my question before we move forward is, if somebody comes in this building and is videoing out of order, what's the process?
Who is that?
Well, my
I'll find his name.
over the camera, walking around doing this and that, what do we do? Well, if you ask them to stop and register, and hopefully that'll be the end of that. Hopefully they'll say, sure, I'll be glad to. If that's not the case, you don't want any kind of, confrontation. I would just call the police and ask them to come over, call up the code officer.
Call the police so they can potentially violate the rights of
Well, you're saying that if they
the individual and put the city
do
in
what we ask them to,
tremendous liability.
then we take action. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're gonna, hopefully they'll register, but if they just refuse, then you don't want to cause a problem. It may be, you know how you're dealing with it. And some people are coming out just to create the confrontation. I ran across that.
Never.
When I was doing a little research. Somebody just comes in order to engage you so they can create a confrontation. And so you want to avoid all of that. Keep it very peaceful and calm to the extent you can, and enforce your rules. I mean, it's a safety rule. All the sad news we're hearing about, all these unintentions, there's sad news every day about how that happens. Do we need a copy of this on the front door? We need to probably, not the ordinance
Did you
itself.
hear that? Coleman Mitchell playing the what if game. You're hearing about all this on the news, this, that, and the other that's going on. What are you talking about, Coleman? I hear about people stepping up to their constitutional duty to challenge shit like this. But I don't really hear whatever you were trying to, I guess, paint into the minds of others. Whatever fear. Violence goes on all around the country every day. It's certainly not anything to do with the people that are going in and constitutionally challenging bad ordinance and city rules and policy like this. In fact, I would say that something like this is going to give a better, more accurate record, and the person is less likely to commit any crime because it's all videotaped. It's all on video.
Legal ordinance, but there's something about video. Is it illegal without? Well, it's not illegal. You got to register the video.
You got to register.
You don't let no one when they see it. So they can't say we didn't tell them. Yeah. Y'all can think about it.
And the girls, the employees here have been.
All right. So a second ago, I had circled this guy right here. And I'd like to know what his name is. This is one of the biggest problems that Batesville has. I'll tell you right now. I watched some of the meeting today, of the Board of Aldermen meeting, and it was a huge debacle for the Board of Aldermen members, and particularly this guy, when the mayor wanted to basically add more transparency to the board meetings by announcing what the topics were that were being voted on by the Board of Aldermen members instead of just listing it by number. And I'm going to say I side with the mayor on that, because the public has a right to know what's being voted on by its board. The board wanting to keep those items silent when tabling them, or when voting, is basically putting everything in the dark, keeping the public out of the loop until after the fact. And Mayor Farrell was trying to, I'll give him props there, he was trying to add transparency in letting the public know more of what's going on in these meetings. However, the Board of Aldermen overrode the mayor on that in order to keep things more private. This guy right here that's circled is obnoxious. Obnoxious. And if you listen to him, I'm going to back it up. Just listen to what he says real quick.
Say, I feel like my way for ordinance, but there's something about video. Is it illegal without? Well, it's not illegal. You got to register the video. You know, they know that when they see it. So they can't say we didn't tell them. Yeah. Y'all can.
He's wanting to call it illegal. They can't say we didn't tell them. Let's post it on the door. This guy right here in the bottom right is your classic example of a tyrant. The Board of Aldermen is already the procedure for appointing Board of Aldermen members who are going to essentially govern the local government is a joke. It's an absolute joke. And that's, you see these people right here sitting at the table, and that's a prime example of why people need to get more involved in the inner workings of their local governments and the policies and ordinances that are passed. Because some of them, they never should have made it into the room to begin with.
That would be for the police office and or the code office has capability of helping. And I think everybody's been well schooled on how that's taken care of. So that'd be good. That'll solve a lot of that. We don't have much of it, but it'll help solve some.
And then they had me.
Anyway, at least we got something right. I'm gonna get Sheriff Danny Sunshine on the form I fixed. Okay. I didn't realize when I did. That'd be great. Well, wonderful.
And that's where that topic ends. It's my goal when I go over there tomorrow. Of course, I'm going there for official business to make the public record request, to get the information that I'm going there to get. I will have a discussion with the mayor. All of it is going to be filmed. All of it. I believe in complete transparency and holding our elected officials accountable for the bad decisions that they make, as well as the good decisions. Hopefully Mayor Farrell makes a good decision tomorrow and doesn't escalate the situation. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed the play-by-play, and make sure you go to www.lafayettems.net, lafayettems.net. Check out the site. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Lafayette County Audit. Take care, everybody.